shortly. In the meantime, I want to tell you about an event that or workshops and classes and training that Calvin does, and it's Live Rent Free. He trained and learned how to become an apartment manager. So you can reach out to him. The registration line is 323-208-6155 or www.freerent.org. I think your site is being...
Yes, we're reworking some things, but you can always call me direct too. If all the millions of people out there want to call me, that's fine. I'm at 323-829-4264. I'm putting out a seed of faith that a million audience will grow for.
There you go. I like that.
Show.
I like that successful line of thought process.
Yes.
And also, so before we went to commercial break, one of the things that Mel said was recycling our black dollars. So this is where it starts. Right? Mm-hmm. So everyone has a business or a service, and, you can't say that there's not somebody in our community that you can reach out to that will have a product or a service that you're looking for. And it no longer has to be where you come out your door and go to a brick and mortar. All you have to do is go online. So that means we have the capacity and the capability of supporting each other across the country, right, or across the world for that matter. So our excuses are like water. They're water.
Lame.
Huh?
They're lame.
They're lame. And Mel says they're lame. They're lame. So there's no reason that we cannot support each other. So recycling black dollars, for those of you that don't quite understand why it's so important, is because these conversations we're having really, you see what we look like. So yes, we're really talking about our people. Mm-hmm. And if we're been in our community, or you're a community activist like myself, and Mel is an activist, and would you say you are in your...
I'm actively concerned and involved to the extent that I can.
To the extent you can. So we are passionate about the fact that we care about our people. Yes. And we want the best for our people. And in today's world, with everything that's going on, I think we're at that place where we have to start taking care of ourselves.
All lives matter, but we do care about our people.
Well, we care about our people. And Dr. Rosie Milligan said to me the other day, she says, Crystal, with what's going on in our political world, with all the protesting and pretty much people are just coming right out and saying what they want and what they don't like and who they don't like and how these people are hindering them from doing what they're doing. She goes, it's actually okay because they finally put up the sign that says whites only. And maybe now we will get that, and we will see that in order for us to take care of us, we have to in order for us to change what is going on in our communities, we have to take care of ourselves. So that's kind of where we are right now. And so the recycling black dollars is a consciousness. It's something that it has to become as common as drinking water. Mm-hmm. And you have to tune in to the Business Zone and find out information so that you can make better decisions. I am so tired of dealing with business owners that just are not doing business the way they need to be. So therefore, they're missing out on opportunities. And Gilbert and I work hard for our businesses, and we are your biggest fan club. But we need you to engage. All of us has to engage. It's so important for us to do that. And that's how we recycle dollars. Muhammad Nazardine, he was way beyond his time when he started RBD 28 years ago. We've been in existence for 28 years. So if you knew Muhammad, I think, Mel, you knew Muhammad, didn't you?
Yes.
Good
so
man.
You guys know how passionate he was about this organization.
Yes.
And if he was alive today, wow, sometimes I sit back and go, wow, how would Muhammad be handling this situation today? Because if he was here now, today, doing what he did 20 years ago, we'd be in a different place.
So true, so true. I think it starts with us. It starts with you, the person, and we have a duty, a responsibility to help our own. Everybody else does.
Right.
And I don't think it's a racist thing to help your own people. When I see other ethnic groups help their own people, it seems to be standard practice.
It's standard practice.
And what I see happening so often with our people is we're kind of afraid to hire our own people. We think, we don't want to hire them. I think that the buck stops with you, the business owner. You have a choice as to who you hire. Certainly you cannot discriminate, but there are lots of qualified people out there, and some of them look like us.
Yeah.
And why not give them a chance too?
And we're bright and we're energetic and we're just innovative, actually. The things that we're capable of doing with far less than everyone else. And so, but sometimes, I hear people, I don't hire blacks because they don't do this and they don't. But did you provide the training for them? Did you have a training program when they came in as your employer and you established exactly what their job quality, what their job categories and qualifications were, and what your expectations were out of them? And then you check back in to see if they were meeting those expectations and if you were meeting their expectations. Because it's got to be a give and take. We have to get to that place where it's a give and take in order to achieve the success we're trying to accomplish here. So we're going to take just a quick break so I can bring my co-host in. So he's not standing over there going, hey.
The check that they get is is in the 9 figures because it's probably the last check they're ever going to get.
Welcome back to the Business Zone. This is Gilbert Buchanan, the small business paramedic, along with
Crystal.
And we've got two wonderful guests here today, and we're going to have a wonderful show. I'm sure they've been talking about some wonderful things regarding recycling black dollars and having these wonderful folks talk about the resources that they have to help you entrepreneurs. So, Crystal, you want to take it away?
I certainly shall. So, Mel, I see there's synergy between you and Calvin at the housing forum. Yes.
Apartment management, as I said earlier, it's like the stepchild of the real estate world, the resident management position. It doesn't require a license or a certificate by the state or anything. But yet, obviously, as Mel, I'm sure, would agree, a smart property manager is not just going to hire anybody. So
that's so true, and a good property manager brings value to your asset, your income-producing asset. A good property manager will know how to manage your property and maintain it properly. They'll know how to deal with conflicts within the tenants and repairs that occur in the middle of the night. And essentially, they will increase the return of your investment on apartments. And so I would recommend highly that if you're buying income-producing units, that you hire a property manager to manage that for you.
You know, it's amazing that we're having this topic here today, because that person that I'm just referring to calls himself a property manager.
Oh, gosh.
And he's been messing up our building. I'm the president of our homeowners association. We got a 36-unit condo complex. Mm-hmm. And this guy calls himself the property manager, done everything wrong in the book. I'm not even sure if he has a license.
I don't think you need them. to have a license.
Well,
you have to be a real estate broker.
Right.
Minimum.
And he's not.
Okay. Well, he's in violation.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm glad that you guys are talking about this so legitimate people out there can understand what needs to be done by a legitimate property manager. So do you guys have like a 10-point checklist that people need to look at whenever they're trying to select a property manager?
Well, there's a lot of information on the internet, but there are some fine points that building owners want to consider, and I'm sure Mel is very familiar with this, of course, of things that you want to qualify to have a person or a company, a property management company or firm handling your real estate.
Right. So I'm sure you guys already gave Crystal your contact information so our small business can get that information, but wouldn't mind having it again.
My website is freerent.org. It's currently under construction, but I've been around for a while. I currently hold classes on a periodic basis at the Inglewood Airport Area Chamber of Commerce.
So that's freerent.org.
Freerent.org. And my direct contact number, since that is under construction, there's a construction page up. But point is that if you want to reach me, if you have questions, 323-829-4264 is my number. Apartment management is definitely not for everyone. But what I do and my wife, what we show people how to use the business so it doesn't use you, and you can maybe pay off some bills, save to buy a home. So it's an opportunity that a lot of people have not considered, and I intend to mass market and let them know that there are options out there because rent is expensive. So.
How about you, Mel?
Well, our companies are Mel Wilson and Associates Realtors. And our website is melwilsonrealtors.com. And that is a fully engaging, interactive website. You can access all the properties on the multiple listing system, which is the system that the realtors use to store their information. You can access it 24/7. There's a mortgage calculator there. There's bios on all our sales associates, so you can get to know a little bit about them. There's certainly a bio on myself. And we love helping clients. I conduct home buyer workshops, home buyer seminars. For the last 5 years, I've been the home buyer educator for Cal State University Northridge, their faculty and their staff. And so if you're thinking about buying a home, we can help you. If you're thinking about selling a home and you're trying to figure out what value should I get for my home and what do I need to do to increase the value for my home before I put it on the market, we can help you.
And that's very good information right there. I'm sure Crystal also shared with both of you that you could advertise here on the Business Zone the services that you offer, because we reach a population of at least 14,000. So
count me in.
Yeah. So this will be a great source. So after the show, we'll just sign you guys up.
And
that's recycling black dollars.
That's what I'm talking about right there.
Yeah, help each other. I'm actually Mel reached out to me, and I'm going to sit on the panel. How?
Yeah, housing our workers.
Oh, wow, I like that.
I'm going to sit on the panel next Wednesday.
I like that. That's great.
And that's what we're going to talk about is, some solutions and just have some conversation. And that's kind of what we've been doing in the business world, is just having conversations. In fact, I'm speaking to some of our community-based organizers and organizations on having that think tank where we know what our problems are, but we have to come up with solutions that effective solutions that will address our issues, and so that we can put those to bed and move on to the next one. Because for me, the most important people that I'm concerned about right now is our next generation, our children. So I don't have kids, but I have nephews and nieces, and then my friends, their children. I don't want my family their kids not to be able to buy a house, not to be able to have an apartment. My sister definitely wants them to move out of the house.
Yeah.
Although the boys have said that, Mom, and they live in one of those tri-level houses, can we just going to put you in the basement?
Oh, my.
And we're just going to take the house. So they don't have any intention of leaving, but their parents have an intention for them to leave. But that's something that's important.
Yeah.
And then for our children to be able to start businesses and feel comfortable that they can live a good life and they can travel, and it's not all a word about just making money just to throw it at the rent or throw it at the utilities and not have any pleasure or life.
Can you give the address and the location and time again? Just want to make sure.
For your event?
For Mel's. The how.
The how is taking place on Wednesday, February 8th, 8:30 a.m. to 4 at the Airtel Plaza Hotel at 7277 Valjean Avenue in Van Nuys, California.
Excellent, excellent. And for those of you who are listening, entrepreneurs or others who are listening or would like to participate in our conversation right now, our phone number is 323-293-3375. That's 323-293-3375. Crystal?
And there's a lot of events going on over this next couple of days, next month, because it's Black History Month. So before you guys got here, he got to hear it. I talked about some of our paying homage to some of our entrepreneurs that came before us, our ancestors that started businesses in the 1800s after slavery. But there's some other events, some current events that are going on. Recycling Black Dollars. We have our monthly breakfast mixer on February 14th, which is Valentine's Day, and it is at 8 a.m. at Denny's on Crenshaw and Coliseum. Come on out. We have Mr. Cedric Watkins. He is an attorney, and his specialty is estate planning. Because, again, we're talking about wealth. We're talking about legacy. We're talking about how we create that in our community. So he's going to come out, and he's going to talk about some avenues to leave legacies for our nonprofits, for our businesses, and succession plans. And these are all of the conversations that we need to be having. So we want you to come out. You'll go to our Facebook page, Recycling Black Dollars. Go to the Business Zone. Go to our website, the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel so that we can grow our membership on YouTube. And we have the Pan-African Film Fest coming up in the end of August. There's probably a Black History something happening every single day of this month. All you have to do is you can go to the Lamert Park Village Beat. They will have everything that's going on in Lamert. You can go to the Sentinel. They'll have everything listed for the Signal and the the LA Weekly and the Black Weekly. So we have enough papers out there that we can find out, and in our radio stations, KGLH, they will have a listing. So make sure you're participating in something that goes on about our people, because the more you know about who we are and what we do, the more engaged you are in.
And in the interest and the spirit of maintaining wealth and sustaining wealth, I really, really want to put this out there to you entrepreneurs. Crystal and I, we are promoting often, all the time, every day, all the time, that you own your building, own your property for your business instead of renting or leasing. I know so many other groups out there, they don't lease, they own.
Yeah.
You guys know which groups I'm talking about, okay? They don't lease or rent, they own. And if it means they've got to wait until they accumulate some funds or get a loan or whatever from somebody, they'll do that, but they're going to own their building.
And that's one of the things that Mel said, that he and his partner, they were paying $9,000 a month for rent on his building, and then they came together and they actually bought it. So is that something that we could look at doing, helping, maybe creating collaboratives or limited liability companies so people can invest in? But I think the first level is having some conversation out once we leave the forum, having conversations with our business owners. We have the capability of bringing them together and having those series of workshops and talking about that. But I think if everyone's working together so we can maximize the impact on the number of people that we're bringing together, I think that benefits all of us.
Yes,
it does. And in real estate, the easiest way to acquire a piece of real estate is to buy a residential dwelling.
Okay.
It could be a condominium, it could be a house, because the financing is much more favorable. For example, if you're a veteran, you can use your GI Bill and buy a property up to $625,000 with zero down payment. If you're not a veteran, you can use the FHA program, the Federal Housing Administration program, and you don't have to have any particular qualification other than making enough money to support the debt on that property.
That's a 3% down payment.
3.5% down payment. Right. And so getting into a home that you own is the easiest road to get into the position where you can own a building that you want to operate out of. I found that when you go to the SBA, for example, to get a business loan, one of the first things they're going to want to know is, do you have any collateral?
There you go.
You have assets.
And if you don't have any assets, you're not going to get that loan. So if you say, yeah, I have a home, I bought it 5 years ago for $500,000, it's worth $675,000 now. Now you can talk to the SBA, and they will be in a position to help you get a business loan on the building that you're going to operate out of. And SBA has a great program for a minimum of 10% down. A typical commercial building, the lenders today are requiring 30% down payment, whereas an FHA loan to buy a home is 3.5% down, and an SBA loan for a business loan on a property is only 10% down. So you want to go on the path of least resistance to get yourself in the game. And once you do that, you can be the brightest person in the world and sitting on a mountain of equity in your real estate.
Right, exactly. And I think those conversations need to be had, because I from my encounters and Gilbert's encounters, it's that they just don't know that they can.
Right.
I mean, people have rented their buildings, their businesses have been in for 30 years because they didn't know that they could buy it.
Yeah.
Another point, too, is that if you have to, if you're looking to purchase a property, don't just think about a single-family residence. Think about a duplex or a fourplex. It's going to be more money, but maybe the area that you select will be a little more affordable. But the point is that move into one of those, live in that for a year or two, and then put another renter in there, and then move on and start accumulating wealth that way. Right. That's another trick that it works.
So I just want to throw this out there real quickly, because this frustrates me a lot. I go around in the community and I see this, I observe it. I'm sure many of you small businesses observe it also. How many of you go out into the community, you have a favorite restaurant or a favorite business, and the restaurant is only there for 6 months or a year, and then it's gone? Or as a business owner, you're renting a facility. You're doing well. You're making some money. You may have been in that building for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. You start doing well. What does the landlord do? Jack up your rent or make it so difficult for you to be in that facility that you have to leave. We cannot continue to do this, entrepreneurs and business owners. We've got to make sure that we own our destiny. And part of self-sufficiency, contract readiness, business readiness, and bank loan readiness is to put ourselves in position to purchase real estate. We got to own our facilities. We got to own it.
Yeah, well, we have to create that wealth in our community.
Just created an idea.
What's that?
Maybe we could start our own real estate investment trust of some type. Mel probably would know more about this than I do. But where we create a situation where we buy a commercial small property and have incubators where people come in and just like renting out space in a beauty salon or whatever, every month they're paying that, and they all get a little equity ownership in that building.
I like that.
So,
what do you think about that, Mel?
I think that's a great idea. You pool your resources. It's difficult to raise $300,000 to buy a $1 million building.
Right.
But if you got 10 people together and they each put up $30,000, there you are.
Yeah.
You're much closer. Or if you're buying a building that's $500,000, you can have maybe a partnership with a limited liability company where you are pooling your resources together. You hire a property manager to help manage that building, and you have some ownership interest in it. And a lot of times what happens is we're so fearful of failure. And so we may have a great idea about doing something, but we don't have the personal assets ourselves to do it. Well, one of the things you should do is just step out of your comfort zone and
take the risk.
Take the risk.
Business is about taking risks.
Entrepreneurship, that's what it's about. And bring some other people in with you. A lot of people don't have great ideas, but they have money.
Yeah.
So you take your great ideas, you help them, and they help you by bringing money into your great idea, and the next thing you know, you're on your way. And then you can leverage that first acquisition with other acquisitions.
Right, exactly. And some of the other communities, the Jewish community has been very good at doing that. The Hispanic community, the way they've merged into the real estate investment industry has been, living together and pooling their resources, and then the one with the best credit go out and they buy the property.
It works from a commercial side, but you don't see as much of that. And I'm thinking that with the resources and the connections that are available through your connections and your channels, Dr. Claude Anderson, I'm a big fan, as I said earlier, but if we could find small business people who would be willing to do that, where they rent that space, that little office space or whatever, little desk, now we paying off that mortgage. So
exactly.
I think we really need to have a discussion on this.
And actually, and those, as I was saying earlier, my brother-in-law, he wants to take some of his 401k and invest that now, because he's going to be retiring in 5 years, and so that he can start building up his investments for afterwards, and he's just not depending on his retirement in order to survive. So that's really big for him. So he's been looking for like-minded people that he can do that with, and he's starting to identify some of those. So maybe they just need to call
in now.
Call in now, right? And have that conversation. And I've had that conversation with a number of people. I have some other friends that are land developers, and that's where they're thinking, because we have to think bigger.
We do.
And broader, and it may not be the traditional way that we've been accustomed of doing it.
It will not be the traditional way.
It will not be. And it can't
anymore.
even be the traditional way, even if we wanted it to be the traditional way, because, we weren't born with that wealth.
Yeah. Right.
And so we do have to come together and work as a group of people collaboratively to make that happen. And as Mel said, what would be challenging on your own, maybe 10 people together, pooling it together. Right now you can write up an agreement and have something signed, and a lawyer put together a partnership agreement, and you're protected.
Yes, you are. And I think that there are some great opportunity there. Real estate is one of the rare investments where you can invest in, and you actually get a write-off while you're investing in it. Whereas if you're investing in your 401k or mutual funds or stocks or other things, you are going to make a dividend or a profit, you hope, but you get taxed on it.
Right.
But real estate shelters your income.
Yeah.
I know folks who have a lot of wealth that they've amassed from owning real estate and writing it off over a period of time, where they shelter their income from being taxed on.
That's fantastic. So we got about 5 minutes, gentlemen. So what did you guys got? Anything that we want to leave wise words of wisdom to our audience?
Well, it's like, for example, in Inglewood here locally, the situation is obviously with the Rams coming in the stadium, the prices of the property is going up. But there was a meeting last summer that I went to, a community meeting, and it was interesting. They were real excited, the politicians, not kicking any politicians, because I guess they're doing their job in bringing in amenities and things. But point is that a lot of the people that were at that meeting, they were excited about the jobs and all, but we're not owning many of these properties, so the opportunities to buy those properties now is passing.
Yeah,
right, exactly, because there's been the investors, they were ready.
Oh.
Every time they make an announcement, some growth in our community, boy, they done jumped all over it. And so Inglewood is the next haven, and then I think they're going out to the Inland Empire. They're going to do some mass building in Palmdale and Lancaster.
That's another mecca out there, Crystal, and that's why we are making sure that we infiltrate that area. I did a workshop there real quickly on Monday, and capability statement development, and we had a handful of entrepreneurs, about 15 of them, loved it. They never seen or heard anything like that before, and I'm going, wow, that's amazing. Never heard of an capability statement. So they need us. They need consultants, business management consultant. They need property management consultants. They need
exposure from your show.
Exposure and all the resources that they can tap into. So we've got to collectively get together and tap into those areas
because they need the information. They definitely need to. So Mel, any word?
Let me give a shout out for the metro system. As you know, in November, the voters approved Measure M, and that is going to be about $120 million per year in public transit. And so I served on the Metro Board under Mayor Reardon in the early 90s when we were building the Purple Line, the Red Line. And I served again under Mayor Viragosa from 2010 until 2013. And I can tell you there are some high rates of return opportunities along all the transit corridors. And maybe you don't have the big bucks where you can buy right on the corridor, but if you buy within a half a mile of the corridor, you can participate in a high rate of return. And so what I've been doing is looking at the land use policies along these corridors and putting together teams who are interested in pooling their resources to acquire real estate along those corridors. I think that is a great opportunity. You don't have to have $1 million to start out. You may start out with $15,000 and you're a part of a team. And you can just ride the tide of real estate as the values appreciate. So I just wanted to put a shout out for what's happening along the transit corridors. The public are supporting transit corridors. This Crenshaw alignment is going to go pretty close to the LAX. The Expo line is already going to Santa Monica, and they're going to build more lines as well. Out in my community in Pacoima, their alignment will be built. It's going to be $1.1 billion, and if you buy some of the least expensive real estate in the San Fernando Valley is in Pacoima and Arleta, and those are great opportunities there. And finally, I'd like to give another shout out to the HOW Forum, Housing Our Workers, February 8th at 8